Let's talk about it, Browns fans, because it was a very gruesome sight over there at Browns training camp after Martin Emerson went down with an Achilles tear. So we're going to talk a little bit about what the Browns can do from their own roster perspective to fill that hole, and also what they can do outside of the Browns, meaning NFL free agents, that could potentially fill in day one and make an immediate replacement. Before we get into the Martin Emerson replacements, though, I've had a lot of fun on the channel covering. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Seeing the kind words that most Browns fans down in the comment section below had for me was greatly appreciated. I hope that when your new host comes in, which is going to be very shortly, he takes this channel to brand new heights. Can't wait to see what you guys have in store. However, I do have one final request for you, Brownies. For my last video, could we get 500 likes? Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up icon. It just shows the bosses that we're in a really good spot right now with the channel as our new host comes in. Now let's talk a little bit more about the main subject of today's video, Martin Emerson Jr. Obviously, it's never fun to discuss somebody's season-ending injury, but that's exactly what happened during Browns training camp. Emerson went down, and it was not a pretty sight. Here's what Yahoo Sports kind of perfectly captured when it came to the entirety of what happened during that play. Emerson was covering Diontae Johnson on a 7-on-7 drill in practice. On Tuesday, when he went down with a non-contact injury, Emerson was seen in a significant amount of pain, and he immediately ripped his helmet off the ground, grabbed his left leg, and just kind of stayed on the ground for quite some time. He was then seen with tears in his eyes before he placed a towel over his head and rode off on a cart off the field. Emerson didn't place any weight on his left leg as he got up onto the cart either. All this to go with the newfound report that came out just a couple of days ago that Martin Emerson Jr. partially tore his Achilles and is out for the entirety of the 2025 season, which is a significant blow for the Cleveland Browns cornerback room, considering now outside of Denzel Ward, it's not looking that great. Sure, you got Greg Newsome, but he's been known to get cooked a time or two, so really it's Denzel Ward and then everybody else, which is, again, unfortunate. Now, is there a possibility where one of those guys that's currently on the depth chart has a next man up mentality? Sure. But how do you replace the cornerback 2 spot? Do you look forward to the next man up mentality on your roster currently, or do you explore other options currently in the NFL? Well, I'm going to do a little bit of both on today's episode. So let's start, of course, with the most, I want to call it the most logical answer for the Cleveland Browns right now, which is going to be looking right now at your current roster. So Chig, I think I'm saying this correctly, Anusium, that is correct. Chig Anusium, who signed in November of 2024 off the Washington Commanders practice squad. And Chig is one of those players that, you know, he is just that. He's a practice squad player. So I don't know how much you trust a practice squad player to fill in that hole right there. But then, of course, you could also go with Cameron Mitchell. Now, I've seen a lot of different reports that kind of indicate where the Browns would go if this was their choice. They would slide Greg Newsome to the outside corner, and then Cameron Mitchell would end up playing the nickel corner slot. I also don't think that that's a great idea, because last year, in 17 games played, he was a non-factor. Right? And again, if your goal is to not pay any more money, and you say, hey, we're going to ride out with what we've got, then sure. Make Cameron Mitchell your nickel or make him your CB2 and just ride it out for the remainder of the season. It might look ugly, but that could be one option. If it were up to me, if I'm making the call right now, if I'm Andrew Berry, you've got to look elsewhere now. You have to. Like, if you're serious about competing in the National Football League, and I'm not even saying trying to make the playoffs this year, I'm saying if you're serious about competing in 2025, you've got to go out and sign or trade for another cornerback that can fill in that spot immediately. Before we talk about any of those guys, should the Browns go out and target another cornerback, yes or no? The answer should be yes, right? Can we all agree on that? And if no, please, I'd love to hear why you think that in the comment section down below. But I am penciling in my yes right now. Before we get on to that, guys, I cannot believe it's still 40% off. Swear to God. Check this morning. Still 40% off. Chatsports.com/Browns Nike T. If you want to sport the coolest Cleveland Browns gear heading into the 2025 season, make sure you do it with that link that I've put in the comments and description of today's video. Made it super simple for you. All you got to do is click on that link and start shopping today. You can get this shirt, which was $39.99, now only $23.99. But if you don't want that, there's plenty of other options that Fanatics has just for you. Again, chatsports.com/Browns Nike T. First one up for Emerson replacements, Asante Samuel Jr. This is a guy that could clearly plug and play, has starting experience, and obviously is a good corner when healthy. We're going to talk a little bit about why I say when healthy, because Asante Samuel is probably the main reason that Asante Samuel has not been signed yet. It's his injuries. But let's talk a little bit about his coverage stats last year. He only played in 4 games, but this is pretty good. An opposing quarterback rating of only 90.5, meaning when he gets targeted, he shuts it down. Quarterbacks have a tough time targeting their wide receivers when Asante Samuel Jr. is in coverage. And if you look back at his career stats, 2022 was a great year. 2023 was an outstanding year. Same with 2021. This guy, when healthy, is a stud. So let's talk about the why I say when healthy. Well, he suffers from a really bad condition. It's called stingers. And if you don't know what a stinger is, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a doctor. There's a reason I'm hosting the Browns Report right now. But from what I gathered, it is a neck injury that causes the neck to kind of tense up, the muscles in the neck to tense up, making movement very uncomfortable and painful. And there's really no cure for it. It's just kind of like when your body goes through it, you've got to wait for it to pass. So it could happen when he's sleeping. You have no idea when it happens. But like I said, if you're willing to roll the dice and take a gamble on a player that has a significant neck injury or what he had suffered at least in 2024, then maybe Asante Samuel is your guy. You can definitely look at him as say, hey, if we got him, it's an immediate upgrade to even the likes of a guy like Martin Emerson Jr. Let's go to the next one. This is a trade. Jakorian Bennett from the Raiders. Now, I talked a little bit to our Raiders host, Mitchell Renz, and I was kind of picking the brain of him a little bit. And I said, tell me what you know about this guy, because if I'm trying to fill a spot from another team, give me a guy that you would be willing to part with, but also could make an immediate impact. And he said, I have just the guy. Jakorian Bennett. So he's in his 3rd year with the Raiders and 3rd different regime with the Raiders. He was Las Vegas's best cornerback last year, also, when healthy, had a little bit of an injury scare last year. And he's also a freak athlete with an insane motor. So all of those things outside of the injury just go check, check, check. There's a reason that he might want out of Vegas. And with the recent, opening in the Cleveland Browns cornerback room, this could be a perfect fit. Why? The Raiders just drafted Darian Porter from Iowa State. Another player that's a development piece because he started at wide receiver for the first 3 years at Iowa State. So he's only really just learning how to play cornerback. So they might believe highly enough in Pete Carroll's development system to kind of move off of a guy like Jakorian Bennett. And last year, it was pretty decent. 26 tackles, 8 PBUs, didn't have any interceptions, but he also only played in 10 games with a PFF grade of 58.6. That's a little bit low, but again, PFF is not the Bible. We're not going to sit here and, try and pretend that PFF knows every single thing about football. Like, they're obviously wrong about a lot of stuff. So let's cook up that trade idea real quick. I said, all right, what do you want for him, Renz? And he said, I'll take the 6th. And then I thought, well, you might say that, but the Raiders might understand the desperation that the Browns have for a cornerback, and they might up the price. So I feel like they'd say, hey, listen, you give us a 2026 5th-round pick, so this year's coming up 5th-round pick, we'll slide Jakorian Bennett your way. And I think the Browns would make that deal in a heartbeat because of that desperation. So let me know, would you make this trade? I'm asking you, be Andrew Berry, take out your GM thinking cap, put it on, and pencil in T for trade or D for decline. Again, if you don't want to make this trade, if you feel like it's too much draft capital or maybe it's not enough, let me know in the comment section down below. Our last player that we have to talk about, probably the guy that I think would be the best fit in terms of a production standard and also proven success throughout his career is Rasul Douglas. Now, he spent the last year with the Buffalo Bills, but is currently a free agent. Now, I'll talk to you a little bit about why he's still a free agent, because it's not for a lack of teams contacting him. The Dolphins just made a big-time call to him, and they actually made him an offer, according to reports, multiple reports I saw from Yahoo Sports. I saw from a couple of Dolphins beat writers that they made him an offer, and he said no. But let's talk about the player real quick. This is the best corner on this list, period. Like last year, he only gave up 4 touchdowns. He had 5 pass breakups, no picks. Quarterback rating was a lot higher than to be desired. But remember, he's getting older, right? Like he's not the same Rasul Douglas that he was back in 2017 when he won a Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles. But with that being said, 2022 was still an awesome season. 2023 was a great year as well. So the dip is kind of there, right? We're seeing the fall off. However, what he offers in zone coverage and also, I believe, still in some man-to-man coverage can't be beat. So it's all going to come down to the money for Rasul Douglas. Cha-ching, little pape. Because he wants his money. He still believes he can add value to a team. I don't think he cares about contending for a Super Bowl. He's already won one. And last year with the Buffalo Bills, they made a long enough playoff run where I feel, again, he got that part of his career settled and all good. Now he's just trying to cash in on as many paychecks before he retires. So where do the Cleveland Browns fit into all of that? The Browns have $19 million in available cap space. Could you call up Rasul Douglas and say, hypothetically, we'll give you $15 million 1 year? Do you think he would take that? I think he would take that. Now, is he worth that much? Probably not, but he seems to think he's worth that much. So, again, the logistics of NFL salaries and what his agent and he are negotiating for, I have no idea. But I can tell you this, they have enough to get at least a 1-year deal done for Rasul Douglas, which is all it would be, just a rental. So do me a favor, name a cornerback the Browns should sign. Let me know in the comment section down below. If it's any one of these 3 guys, you can let me know. Or if there's another guy out there that you think, hey, we need right now, do it and let me know in the comment section down below. That is going to do it for me here on the Browns Report. I have had a lot of fun. Like I said, remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not, and as always, Browns fans, be cool.